Started sooner today. Well, we're not taking so long to get started. Welcome to day 3 of the Mystic Rising Challenge. Let's get you all centered. Hi, Facebook. Hi, Instagram. Great to be here with y'all. Welcome to day 3 of the Mystic Rising Challenge. Today's title is Being the Mystic, or today's topic is Being the Mystic. I am very excited about this. So thank you. If you're finding me on day 1 of this challenge, or if you're finding me on day 3 of this challenge, there are 2 more days, and you can just go to my Facebook or Instagram personal page and scroll a little bit and you'll find them. So the way this is working out, there's going to be, I promise to tell you today's reward if you do the challenge. So there's 3 days of challenge. If you do all 3 days, today in real time, it's Wednesday, April 26th, and you have until Friday, April 28th to do all 3 days. The first 2 days were to email me. One is to meditate for 5 to 10 minutes and email me how it went. Day 2 was meditate for 15 minutes with your journal and write down all the things that come and email me what came. And then I'll share today's challenge towards the end. And also that the award for doing all 3 days is a 30-minute intuitive reading with yours truly. That's me. I'm yours truly. And so, yes. And today's topic, being the mystic, I was so excited. I was just like listening because we talked yesterday about hearing the mystic, and the distinction I want to make today is the difference between being a mystic and doing the mystic, or being mystic and doing mysticism. And in Alchemizing Judgment, I'm going to keep referencing this book. That is my 3rd book. It is called Alchemizing Judgment, A Guide Back to Love. And it is a book, it's practically a guidebook, or a textbook, I like to call it sometimes, about being an alchemist, being a mystic, learning to use energy, and also, live in alignment with your gifts. And in Alchemizing Judgment, I use the phrase performative spirituality. And what I mean by that is like the doing magic, or doing mysticism, or doing anything instead of being mystic, being magical, being the gift that you are. A lot of people try to dress the part, talk the part, walk the part, act the part, and that's cool, and that doesn't mean that you're actually tapped in, tuned in, turned on, attuned to your gifts and how to actually harness, nurture, direct, utilize, and integrate those gifts. And so while there's probably a great intention behind it, and sometimes, and especially in today's world, it's easy to get caught up in like the vanity metrics of it all, of wanting to have a certain amount of followers, or see people to see you a certain way. I kind of like to use myself as the example, which is like, I am wearing sweatpants and no bra, and like an oversized button-up. And I call myself a keynote speaker or a spiritual being, right? I don't need to wear a certain thing or speak a certain way to also be love, or to be able to hold space for somebody navigating whatever they're navigating. And we if you put the cart before the horse, meaning the look of it, I'll give one other example because maybe it's not necessarily in the realm of being mystic. If you're wanting to start a brand or a business, oftentimes we look out at what other people are doing and we try to curate our efforts, our life, our look to what we think is successful and accepted and celebrated. as such that we want to be. However, what tends to happen is we get away from our natural state of being in order to do it right. Now, I'm not saying sweatpants, no bra, and oversized shirt and your work glasses on is the right way to be a mystic, right? Like, that's not the point. It's this is what I am most comfortable in. And it, like, I've done it my whole entire life. I've put on slacks and labeled polos and wore my hair a certain way or did a certain thing to my face or whatever else, or wore a certain size heel. That just, when I do things like that, I'm more consumed by how I feel out of place or out of function, that my gifts are the last thing on my mind. I'm uncomfortable. I'm worried about how I look or what people think, or if I stepped right or wrong, or if I showed up right or wrong. And that's not where I'm in my most brilliant flow or genius to be able to share that gift. So over time, I've learned to honor where and how I'm comfortable in order to be who I came to be, to deliver the gifts I came to deliver. And for myself, which I believe this to be an aspect of spirituality and mysticism, is being able to listen. So on a like kind of moving forward on another aspect of being the mystic is also sometimes being nothing and no one and nowhere, and being with who's in front of you, being with what's in front of you, to be able to observe what's going on. And so this still lives inside of that performative spirituality. When I come to a call, which in this challenge I'm offering intuitive readings, when I come to a call, I don't come with the agenda of what I'm going to provide for that person. I come into the call, or an interaction. If I'm out into the world and I'm meeting somebody, I need to meet who that person is in order to be with them. Me being a mystic doesn't have to do with what I can do for somebody. It has everything to do with what somebody needs. So if I'm giving somebody something they don't need, I am not of service to them. It is not of value for me to, if I can provide a brilliant gift that's inapplicable to that person, then I'm not being attuned, right? And so performative spirituality is I'm this and I'm that and this is how I do it, and watch me, or that's great, that's performance, that's all, that's performance. It's not being, and it's doing, not being. And so one of the most powerful aspects of being able to be with is to listen for, and then honor. And so yesterday I mentioned honoring. So in the 2 days worth of challenge, to meditate, to create stillness and silence and solitude and space, and listen, and then write down, listen for guidance. I said the mind is very chattery, and the heart and the gut often whisper or urge or nudge. And so when we have those nudges, it's an opportunity to then say, okay, got it. What's next? Show me the next right step. Tell me what there is to hear. Show me what there is to see. Help me be who there is to be. Help me say what there is to say. Right? So the part of the being I wanted to bring to this conversation, to this live today, is courage. We more often than we are ready or interested in, receive guidance and clarity in what to do, who to be, where to go, when to go there, what to say, what not to say, what to agree to, what not to agree to. Okay? Courage is often the missing piece is in the gap, closes the gap between you and where you want to be. I mean, that seems like a pretty obvious statement. And that usually something requires courage because it is currently outside of your comfort zone, or it will expand you to be that way, say that thing, do that thing, whatever. I'm going to give a quick example. This has been going, there's a great book I'd love to recommend if you're interested, which is The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. And he talks about just honoring the flow of life, that life kept presenting things to him and he kept honoring the flow of life. We as humans, again, I talked a lot about this on day one. So if you're loving this content, head back to day one of the Mystic Rising Challenge. I'll also drop the links specifically on Facebook. I know I can drop the links for the old lives. All right. And so being courage, honoring the flow of life. And when you hear something, it might not be something you're super excited about, but you know it to be true. This happened for me with the van, living van life. I spent 3 years paying off debt, and I was so proud of myself. I was so excited. I was so over debt, like done with that. And in Costa Rica, January, February, March of 2022, I had just paid off my debt, and about a month later, I had this whole premonition for van life. I wasn't planning on it. I was planning to move back to California, get an apartment, settle down, chill out, sit next to the ocean and stare at it for days on end. That was my desire and goal. And it wasn't working out. And I knew I was hitting these like really obvious roadblocks with finding an apartment. And I asked Spirit, where, if not here, where would you have me be? And the answer was Costa Rica. So I go to Costa Rica for 2 months. And during my time in Costa Rica, I saw a very clear premonition of traveling full-time in a van. And I was like, no, because I knew it was guidance. I knew it was an invitation. And my brain, my ego, my personality had just paid off all her debt and was really excited to be debt free. And so it was this like, I don't want to go back into debt. I was practically pleading with guidance, like, I don't want to go back into debt. So when I got back from Costa Rica and it was March, I went straight to Phoenix where my Jeep was parked, and I decided I would take a 2-week road trip in my Jeep, which I did. It was wonderful. I went to the Grand Canyon, Lake Havasu, Sedona, somewhere else, Joshua Tree, and it was wonderful. And I got back to Southern California. I had a meeting with my bookkeeper, and I'm like, listen, here's the guidance. And she was like, oh, boop, 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 boop. You can afford that. You can do that. And I was like, I don't want to go back into debt. I don't want to finance a van. And she was like, you can do that. Look at, here's the numbers. Here's how it turns out. And it made perfect sense, and it was no big deal. But my pride had stopped me from wanting to do that. And our pride can get in the way of listening to the mystic, listening to the guidance, our intuition, our downloads. And so it still takes courage. You will hear a lot. You do hear a lot. Yesterday I talked about being awakened. Like, there's the awakening where you wake up and you see everything for what it is, but that doesn't mean you're ready to be like, okay, I get it now and I'm gonna go. You have to be in agreement with it. That doesn't mean there won't be fear involved. That doesn't mean it won't take courage. That doesn't mean there won't be a feeling of sacrifice or grief. But oftentimes we're trading the good for the great, and then the great for the extraordinary, and the extraordinary for the phenomenal, and the phenomenal for the unfathomable. So imagine when you're at the stages of extraordinary and phenomenal, when you're leaving those things behind and being called into something greater, of course you're still going to grieve what you're leaving behind. This is that part of honoring, being a being of trust, being a being of surrender. And one of my favorite terms is blind faith, because I cannot always foresee what guidance is. I'm going to give you one other quick example, because my whole business is an act of surrender at this point, and I don't know where it's going all the time. It's quite wild. And this includes life in relationship, this includes life personal, health, wealth, all of it. Is the speaker stage tour. I'm hosting I am now in the starting the 13 city, 10 state speaker stage tour, right? I received just the phrase speaker stage while building the van last October. I actually just opened my journal the other day and saw the first note about it. And so the speaker stage came to me while I was building the van, and all I heard was speaker stage. And I'm like, okay, noted. And had a hint of what that meant, and then it more fully developed as a vision in December and January, and then by February it was in motion, and it's April, February, March, April, a 13 city tour came together. I didn't do that, I be that. Okay, I leaned into the guidance and surrendered to the synchronicity of it. That's mysticism. That's the magic of it. That's the co-creative component of it. I am not the one at hand here, right? I'm a player on the board, and I'm a willing player on the board. And that's what being a mystic is leaning all the way in and inquiring your role, your part in this symphony of this. It's fascinating. It is fascinating, and it's mysterious. It takes courage. It takes surrender. And a lot of this, you guys, the mystic part of it to me is the intangibility. This is why I love explaining it and talking about it and displaying it and training it and sharing it and supporting people. It's why I'm hosting the Mystic Retreat in Sedona, to bring other people together who are saying, I feel this, I sense this, I get this, I'm hearing this, and what? And how, and where, and why me, and what now? There's all these different questions that come, and I believe in mentorship. I believe in guidance and support. Coaches have coaches, leaders have leaders. And so that being said, putting yourself in relationships, environments, and circumstances that give you the opportunity to nurture, harness, share, unleash, deliver, integrate your mystic nature. I love this shit. And if you're watching this far, I love that you're loving it too. I love that you're involved. And so the challenge for today is to connect, okay? Being the mystic, I want you to email me. Again, you can DM me. I've just been saying email. If DM or Facebook message is fine too, that's great. I want you to send me a message about what you know that is going to take courage of you to follow through on. Okay? That might seem unclear, but if you know, you know. If you get it, you get it, right? You've been getting a hit about who you are, what there is for you to do, what there is for you to be up to in life and in the world. And it's going to take a certain amount of courage to sort of thrust yourself off the ledge of faith and surrender. And I want to hear about it. So email me, abigail@heartsunleashed.com, or you can send me a DM, or Facebook, you can send me a personal message. But I want to know about it. And if you do all 3 days, I will give you a 30-minute intuitive reading. Okay, that is to meet you where you are, to listen into your body. Something about my mysticism is being clairsentient. So being able to tap into someone's body and look for those energetic blocks, look for what's in the way, look for where the pain is, because we pretty much well know about who we are and what we want. And we can't get there if we have 1,000 pounds of emotional baggage and trauma and limiting beliefs in the way of that. Okay, and so if you would love to spend 30 minutes with me on the phone, just, again, this isn't a hard sale. This is an intuitive reading. I'll be there for you. I want to listen. I will tell you or ask you about the Mystic Retreat or answer any questions you want, but you don't have to commit to the Mystic Retreat. And if you're ready If you're ready to commit to the Mystic Retreat, you can save $500 by registering with a $1,500 deposit here in April. It's the 26th. That means you have, I think, like 5 days, 4 days to put down a $1,500 deposit, which just, again, email me, send me a message, say, I am ready to be at that Mystic Retreat. I'll post a little bit, or actually I'll post a link for the Mystic Retreat so that you can read the description about what we're up to. I talk about some of the workshops we'll be doing there. It's in Sedona. We're going to have some Sedona type experiences. We're going to go hang out in the Red Rocks and amongst the cacti and all the, it's beautiful there. And so I would love for you to join me there this September in Sedona. That's all I have for now, folks. This is day 3 of the 3-day Mystic Rising Challenge. I've had so much fun coming live for a minute. This is, I don't know if you can tell, this is some of my favorite topics to talk about. I love mysticism. I love the magic of what spirituality can offer us and the way that it can lead us in our lives and just bring so much more fulfillment and satisfaction and service. It's still, there's a fun part of it that fills us up, and it's still being and living of service and in connection. So I would love to connect with you. Reach out, don't hide out. It might take you courage just to reach out to me and say, I understood everything you're saying, and me next. I know that that takes courage. I've been on a 2-year journey to continue to step out. I understand. I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon.